Hello everybody, welcome back. It is me, your old pal Orpheus, with another adventure here on Orpheus Plays. We're playing Blade and Sorcery today. We're on the PC version, and yes, it is another great day for murder. And today I wanted to tell you something about myself that you may or may not have figured out by now. And that is that I love dangerous things. Yes, dangerous things. We'll get into that in just a couple of seconds here. But first of all, I hope that you are doing well wherever you are today, whether it is day or whether it is night. I'm just glad that you're here enjoying the time with me. So today we're in survival mode. We have 3 weapons that come out, and I destroy everything that comes out the doors with them. We have a nice looking rapier here. We have a saber, okay, and we have a mining pickaxe. I'm not sure. That's a tough one. I think I'll have to go with the rapier today. Do a little bit of the swashbuckling, you know. Okay, so let's get things started. Let's get things started here today. You know, Arnold wants a little blood on his sword. Come here. Let's do our first traditional slow motion kill of the day. We'll take that arm off. Do a little bit of work here. She's not dying. Oh, there we go. And now with that taken care of, as it slowly sinks. Oh god, that's gross. Anyway, let's get things started with our topic today. Now, my entire life, I've been sort of, and we have our first drama queen of the day, the one who refuses to get off screen. Ding, 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 ding. Oh, and she's pegged to the board like an insect on the wall. Anyway, so since I was a little kid, I've always been like in love with things that you would like consider dangerous, right? And if you haven't guessed by me playing this game all the time, I absolutely adore things like swords and knives and daggers and, you know, stuff like that, and axes and all sorts of things. Now, the funny part is, growing up, I had access to a lot of firearms, okay? So my dad owned a lot of guns, and we had property that we went up to all the time, and we did a lot of, riding motorcycles, which, you know, in itself is a danger thing, right? Danger seekers. And we would, you know, ride motorcycles out somewhere and shoot some guns and like have a bonfire and everything. And you know, it's funny because those times, right? Those times when we were out doing that stuff, like the outdoorsy sorts of things, were the times that I was allowed to be Mr. Danger, at least, you know, child danger. The dangerous child. Come here. I was allowed to be the dangerous child, and what I mean by that is, like, I was allowed to have a Boy Scout knife strapped to my head, right? I was allowed to have to carry around a camp axe. I was allowed to light the bonfires and stuff like that. What do we got here? Ooh, we got a little ninja toe here. Yes. Very good, very nice. So I was always the one that was allowed to, like, I was the kid that would spray the gasoline over the big pile of logs and, right? Or I was the one that was clean. Or I was the one that was allowed to, like, you know, load the firearms or something. They had no problem letting me go up and shoot things, and, you know, I'm riding motorcycles across the entire, you know, like, just miles and miles, hours and hours a day each weekend and stuff. Like, it was always fascinating to me. Come here. I couldn't get your head. I want your head. Come here. Whoa. Okay, that works. But, you know, like, spent so much time riding motorcycles and stuff, and there was something weird about the motorcycle thing. Oh, there you go. Because I was always allowed to ride motorcycles on dirt trails, you know, but it was always, like, absolutely forbidden to go anywhere on, like, pavement, okay? So I guess in that sense, there was a little bit of, like, rescue from the danger, but I'm telling you, like, riding around on a motorcycle, boop. riding around on a motorcycle in the woods for hours and hours, for days and days of my life. I did a video recently about, like, what, you know, how to become an expert at almost anything, and I discussed how I've got well over 10,000 hours riding motorcycles, right? But does that make me an expert? Anyway, I think it does. But, so the dangerous things. I always had a fascination with fire, right? And like, so the fire was always the thing that was the most powerful to me, right? Because it was like this force of nature, right? Fire is fascinating. When you look at it, it's this combination of like elements and energy and everything, and it's just incredible to see the way that it works and all that. Well, okay. So, why I told you about why it was okay for me to be Mr. Dangerous at this, we'll call it the ranch, right? Which is what we called it. Why was I allowed to be dangerous at the ranch and not anywhere else? Now, I'm not sure. I'm not really sure why that happened, right? Because if I was home, every single day when I went to school, my mom would go through my room, and she would take things like lighters and like Swiss Army knives and pocket knives and and obviously I didn't have any like guns or anything in my room. I wasn't allowed to do that. I mean, hey folks, if you're a parent and you're letting your kids have guns in their room, reconsider. That's how accidents happen, or at least that's how some school shootings happen. Anyway, so I was never allowed to like have access to this stuff when we weren't up at the ranch. And that's the funny thing, because it's not like I was, I don't know, more dangerous or more dangerous or less dangerous, anything like that when I was up at the ranch. It's just, I guess, I don't know. Was there like a less danger kind of? Did people care as much? I don't know. Ooh, the executioner sword. Ooh, this thing is nasty. Anyway, banger. Let's get going on like what I was talking about with fire. Now, let me maybe give you an example of why I wasn't allowed to have the fire anywhere else. Okay. Growing up, I had instances at least twice. No, you know what? It was more like 3 or 4 times. Where I set things on fire, just like absolutely set them on fire. So a great example is one year we had this little like grove, this little stand of trees. And they were like these pine trees, nice tall, like 50-foot tall pine trees. And it was right off to the front of our house. If you go down the driveway going out of the house, it was like right here. And there was this one day I decided I want to start a fire, and my cousin was watching me. This older guy who was my cousin, he was watching me, and he was enjoying himself in the house. He said, now don't do anything stupid like set anything on fire. So the first thing I did was I got my lighter out, and I went over to this grove of trees. Now, if you've never had pine trees anywhere near you, I will give you a little science on this. There are pine cones and pine needles that will litter the area around that unless you keep them cleaned up. Okay, so those are very flammable. Extremely flammable. And so when you get to the point where you start a fire on one, they go up quick. And I thought, I'd be able to control this. I thought I'd be able to control this, no problem. Well, cut to about 3 minutes later, the entire thing is on fire. Like, the bottoms of the trees. The entire set of a patch of ground near all those trees was on fire. We had to call the fire department, came out and everything. So that was the first thing. The second one was not really, well, let's put this as one of those. Okay, so I did an episode called I'm pretty sure that I'm dead in most universes. Right? And this is one of those instances where there's another universe where I definitely died this day. Ooh, that looks cool. Or I definitely died on whatever universe that was in. We were up at the ranch, and the ranch is a hunting ranch, right? So it has facilities to like feed and house like 20 people, if not more, like feed at least 30 people during the day, but like you could keep about 10 people at the ranch itself. People brought their own RVs and everything. So hunting season rolls around, there were like, 30, 40 people sometimes. Well, so in order to accommodate for the cooking that you'd need to do, you need those big propane tanks. Now, you've seen them. They're like industrial size ones. Not the big, huge, like ones that, like, not the ones that are like, I don't know, like a giant barrel like this sitting on like a thing like this. Not one like that, okay? We're talking one that was like a straight up and down one, okay? So it's like a cylinder that was like this, the bigger around, obviously, with a big, huge regulator knob on the top, right? And this was one of the spare ones. So it was full. It was sitting outside on the corner of the building where the kitchen was. And it had this thing on it, you know, like it looked like a garden hose hookup, which it actually was the same size as a garden hose hookup. Now, that itself is not important to the story, the garden hose portion, but the little knob on the top is interesting because I was like, what is this thing, right? So one day I cranked that thing open a little bit and the gas comes, you know, right? And I kind of, oh, it's propane, right? And if there's one thing I knew when I was a kid, propane plus fire equals blowtorch, right? Or at least, you know, some sort of brazing torch or a heater or something like that. You know, when you go hunting, you get those little cylinders of propane. You hook it up to like a little heater thing that goes right and keeps you nice and toasty wherever you are, whether it's like a high school hockey game or something like that. Anyway. So I see, okay, there's propane that comes out of this thing. And there had to be like 5-10 people there at that point in the day, right? And my dad was one. Oop, frame rate go poop. Anyway, my dad was one of them. And he's looking outside, and I'm sitting there, and I tank. And I see the thing, and I'm like, so I grab a lighter. And I'm sitting there, and I turn the gas on a bit, and I start flicking the lighter to start it up. I start flicking this lighter, and my dad sees me, and like, I don't think I've ever been tackled before in football like he tackled me. It was like one of those things where you get someone that, yeah, I mean, you've seen it in a movie where someone's just about to get hit by a bus or something, and you see someone come diving over and like grab them out of the way. That's kind of what happens. It was like, let me see if I could just put him here and just like give him a good tackle. Stand up, stay standing. Nope. So it was like, like pushed and tackled out of the way. I went ass over tea kettle, and like, it was just incredible to me that, like, how fast he got me out of there. He turns around and he cranks that thing shut. And man, okay, so I got a good whooping after that one, like, understandably. But yeah, no, that was bad. So that was another thing where honestly, in another universe somewhere, I am absolutely dead because of that one. Because it would have taken maybe one or two more flicks of that lighter for that thing to come on, and it would have gone out. Because the thing about those tanks is they don't have a flame arrestor on them, which is a thing that keeps the fire from going into the bottle, right? They're not designed to be used for that, so they didn't have the same safety. So that thing would have just gone whoosh and then kaboom. And so I'm extremely lucky on that one. But dangerous things, guns, right? I've been going to the range lately, and I'm going to actually do an episode on that soon where I've been going to shoot some more. It's been a long time for me since I've gone and done that stuff, and it's amazing. But what is this fascination I have with sharp things and with axes and with big blunt objects? Like, we got baseball bats in our house that have like I've nailed like little rivets into, so they're nasty, like Lucille Jr., you know. But I've never understood fully why I think that I have to have things that are dangerous. I think it's like it makes me feel more primal. I think I addressed this in another one just recently, like why Blade and Sorcery is such as this primal game. It like lets me tap into my inner like caveman. Anyway, so if you have a fascination with things that are sharp or dangerous or heavy and able to hurt things and beat things up and smash things, let me know. Maybe you play a game like this too to get some of that urge out. Anyway, that's my little blurb for today. We will see you in the next one here on Orpheus Plays. Be good, do good, and treat yourself well, because you know what? You deserve it. See you next time. Bye!